some have described the recent crisis as being the result of too little regulation of the market rather than too much, implying that what's needed now is these new structural rules. What types of policies do you see could be implemented, particularly thinking of the global level, that would support the development and the dissemination of social businesses like you described?
The point I raised in the context of the crisis, one, this is not one crisis, financial crisis. It's a multiple crisis. Other crisis simply doesn't get the headlines anymore. Food crisis is on, energy crisis is still on, environmental crisis is still on, social crisis is still on, the poverty, ill health, and so on. So this is enormous varieties of crises all put together. And the second point I make, these are all rooted in the same cause, same problem. Problem in the architecture of the whole society, architecture of economics that we follow. That's where the problem is. So crisis creates a wonderful opportunity for us to go back and redesign, restructure. So we are not doing that. We are trying to find a quick solution to go back to the old thing, remain within the old structure. I said that would be wrong, rather than hurrying back to the old normalcy and hurrying back to the next crisis. Why don't you take a little bit of time and redesign and create a new normalcy and move on to new track so that we don't get to the same problem. And the problem, you talked about the regulation. Regulation is one tiny piece of that problem. There are bigger problems. Institutional problem. Institution itself has to change. For example, financial institution, probably you mentioned regulation in terms of the financial institution. It's an institution which is biased institution. It only works for the poor people, rich people. It leaves out huge number of people around the world. Why don't we take this advantage, create an inclusive system? We have been working this all over the world. It works well. Even in the crisis time, microfinance is flourishing. This is not disturbed. It didn't collapse. You never heard of this one collapse. You heard big banks collapse, but never heard of microfinance institution collapse. They function. Their money comes back, where other people are not paying back. Microfinance people are paying back their money. So why don't we learn from that? Create an institution which is an inclusive system, caters to all the people, so that we don't have pawn shops anymore, so that we don't have check cashing companies anymore, so that we don't have payday loans anymore. These are flourishing in every country. Although they give this as if a legitimate business. This is not a legitimate business when you charge 1,500% interest rate on your loan. You can't talk. So this is an opportunity to do that. So this is what I would say. And conceptual redesigning. In that conceptual redesigning, I'm saying, I'm putting my piece. Why don't you add another one called social business? You don't have to, you do whatever you do on other things, but add one more piece so that people can express their creativity, their talent in solving problems in a business way. And we can address every single problem if we bring up our creativity, our technology into it. And we can create a new kind of situation for all of us.